McDonald's is a place to rock. It is a restaurant where they buy food to eat. It is a good place to listen to the music. People flock here to get down to the rock music. Rock and roll McDonald's. Rock and roll McDonald's. Rock and roll McDonald's. Rock and roll McDonald's.
All right. Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. Today is September 23rd, 2025. That was Wesley Willis, R.I.P., Rock and Roll McDonald's. Taking some L-theanine. Done took some ashwagandha. So, first of all, a prophecy was made. You guys know how I feel about prophecies, like Kim Clement and all that jazz. Apparently, a South African podcast made a prophecy that today would be the end of the world. It's still the 23rd, so we'll see. The guy said the rapture would happen. I personally don't believe in the rapture. Somebody was explaining to me that the rapture was kind of made up after the Bible was written. Maybe we'll do a deep dive on that one day. But people were selling their houses, quitting their jobs. I think it's fucking hilarious. But I'm a fan of, like, Christian fails, you know. So that's going on today. If we got time, maybe we'll report on that Either sometime tonight or maybe later in this episode if we got time. Just depends. Another thing for an update. I finally got a badge of honor. Sam Tripoli says you know when you made it when someone calls you disinfo. So apparently during that video blew the fuck up, man. That podcast about Erica Kirk and her Freemason ring. Yeah, so apparently I'm disinfo, which is cool. To me that's a badge of honor. Like I said, Sam Tripoli says that's when you know you made it. And I love to. I asked how, and they never answer. So I'm pretty sure it's either a bot or someone who probably listens to like Russian vids or Truth Seeker or something, who thinks everyone's disinfo. If you're not like a Bible believing conservative Jesus freak, then like, yeah, you're disinfo. You're a devil worshiper. But I do have to ask though, man. It's like I work at a gas station, live in a trailer. Like, you would think also too, if I was collecting a check from like the CIA or Israel, Mossad or something, wouldn't I have a bigger following? That's almost insulting. Like, so am I a disinfo agent who does it for free? No, I would at least get paid for it. Someone's gonna clip that and not realize I'm being facetious, you know, because most of our community is retarded. But yeah, I wanted to tell you guys that I finally earned a badge of honor past several days. So, look, the Charlie Kirk stuff is important. And I didn't realize this until about 2 days ago. I was watching Jim Brewer. The Brewerverse podcast is his podcast. Jim Brewer is fucking awesome. He was a comedian that I kind of grew up watching in the 90s and early 2000s. He was in a movie called Half Baked with Dave Chappelle. He's fucking hilarious. And I didn't really get back into Jim Brewer until years later. And I ran across, it was either he was on someone else's podcast or I think it was either Eddie Bravo or Sam Tripoli that he was on their show. And I was like, holy shit, the dude from Half Baked is a conspiracy theorist. you know, because it's very rare that you'll find like a actor or actress who's like a conspiracy theorist. So, and he promoted obviously his podcast, and I started listening to him, and for one, it's hilarious. Two, that's my style of podcast that I like to listen to, is comedians talking conspiracies. I don't like, no offense, Charlie Kirk's. I don't like Ben Shapiro's. I'm not big on Alex Jones. I have to have some sugar to make the medicine go down. So he put out a short on YouTube, and he's like, do you know what happened the day that Charlie Kirk got shot? It was a big distraction. Apparently they were going to release the Epstein files, and it got voted down. So no release of the Epstein files the exact day that Charlie Kirk got shot. And like I said, I am not saying that they killed Charlie Kirk to draw attention to him instead of the Epstein files. It's possible. I mean, these people are fucking evil at the top. That is a possibility. I'm not saying that Charlie Kirk's death was fake. That they were using it as a distraction. That's another thing too. People want me to say the most outlandish shit with like no evidence. Like, if I'm not saying exactly what they say, it's disinfo. But to just ask questions and say I don't know, that's disinfo too, apparently. That's spreading confusion to say I don't know about something. I don't know. But I do think that that event happened with Charlie Kirk, whether it was fake, whether it was real. I don't care. I don't care. I know it sounds bad, but I don't care if it was fake or real. Honestly, actually, I wish it was fake. That means that the guy's still alive. You know? I wish that QAnon was real and they were doing some fake murder to, like, I don't know, bring him on to Q or whatever you fucking retards believe. You know, I wish it. But, I do think that it was used as a distraction by the mainstream media to get everyone to go, look over here, while we do not release the Epstein files, while we vote down the Epstein files. So let's get into it. And by the way, I'm such disinfo and a CIA agent, I didn't even realize that was going on that day. I've been trying to keep up with the Epstein shit. Obviously, go check out the Epstein playlist. That was basically our biggest story and subject that we had been reporting on before Charlie Kirk. Which, by the way, like I said, I do think that Charlie Kirk is important, the assassination, but it's starting to turn into JFK. And I told you guys years ago, like, I barely scratched the surface of the JFK assassination. I never really wanted to truly jump into it because it is so deep, and I would drive myself nuts studying the JFK assassination. It's one of the few conspiracies that I'm like, no, I'm not messing with it. Because literally it would become my entire show. I would never end up reporting on anything else except for the JFK assassination because it's so dense. Alright. GOP momentum grows to force Trump DOJ to release Epstein files. And this is the 15th. So it's already the 23rd. 13 days after they blocked the release of the Epstein files. So some Republicans now say privately that it's inevitable Congress will pass legislation directing Attorney General Pam Bondi to release all files the Department of Justice possesses related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. President Trump has repeatedly tried to wave aside calls from Republicans and MAGA activists to make all the Epstein files public, but GOP lawmakers say privately that Trump is losing the battle to move on from the controversy that has been a White House annoyance since earlier this summer. Yeah, and that's a reason why I'm like, yeah, he's connected, dude. Like, sorry, in my opinion, I believe he's allegedly a chomo. The way he has treated this, I'm like, yeah, he's a chomo, dude. Allegedly, you know. And he lied to you because he ran on, I'm going to release the files, you know, all this shit. And then as soon as he gets in, are we still talking about that? You know, gaslighting you. It's like, dude, you ran on that. And by the way, he did this before with his first time he got presidency. when he was running against Hillary. He did this before, by the way. If you guys remember, he was talking about reinvestigating 9/11. Whatever happened with that? Did they ever reinvestigate 9/11? Or if they did, were they just like, yeah, nothing to see here, you know? One Republican senator who requested anonymity to comment on the sensitive subject told The Hill that Congress will sooner or later pass legislation directing Bondi to release all unclassified files related to Epstein. So that's concerning right there. All unclassified. Meaning, if we do get to see him, there's going to be so many fucking black marks on it. I mean, and it'll probably be shit that we already fucking know. Anything mentioning CIA or Mossad, you know it's all going to be blacked out. The senator pointed out that many Republican lawmakers who followed Speaker Mike Johnson, who's a Republican, LA, instructions and declined to sign a discharge petition to bring Epstein matter to the House floor for a vote, have nevertheless been very vocal in demanding the Justice Department release all Epstein-related materials. Whole bunches of them have been very vocal about this. Most of the Freedom Caucus has been, the senator said. The problem for some of these folks is that this has been an issue for years. Yeah. I mean, and to me, it's the most important issue. That's why I won't shut up about the Epstein shit. Because to me, that's my top priority. A massive child sex trafficking ring, including the elites. Like, how is that not important? You know? That's why it pissed me off so much when Trump was like, are we still talking about this? Yeah, we're still talking about this. And we won't shut up. The senator observed that when Pam Bondi said in February that a list of Epstein's clients is sitting on her desk right now to review, she created a huge expectation that the administration would reveal the names of the well-connected and wealthy men who participated in Epstein's sexual exploitation of girls and teenagers. At least they're making a differentiation right there, because a lot of these news sites have been trying to like whitewash that it was like teenagers, because to make them like feel better or something. You know what I mean? It's like, no, these were little girls. That was really unwise, the lawmaker said. What, the gaslighting? Yeah, you think? It's sitting right on my desk. And then we got, oh, there is no files. Republican lawmakers say it now appears certain that a discharge petition that has been circulated in the House of Reps by Thomas Massey, who is a Republican from Kentucky, whoop whoop, and Ro Khanna, a Democrat from California, will get enough signatures by the end of the month to force a vote on a bill directing Bondi to release the Epstein files. So look at that. Thomas Massey from Kentucky is reaching across the aisle with a Ro Khanna, a Democrat from California, both working for the same cause, to release the files. I do have to say, man, I just found out about this Massey guy earlier this year covering Epstein, and I like him. Especially, one, he's from Kentucky where I live, and two, he's concerned about the right shit. And see, this is why I tell you guys, man, two wings of the same bird. First of all, both sides suck. But they put aside the R and the D and the blue and the red and the donkey and the elephant, and they're like, let's get these fucking files released. They're on the same page. And people are like, oh, the only reason the Democrats want the release of the files is because they hate Trump that much. I could care less why they want it. They want the same thing as I do, the release of the Epstein files. Whether it's out of their darkness of their hearts just to get Trump, cool. If he's on there, get him, you know? And I don't mean that like violently, so like he is the president of the United States. Like, I don't need the FBI kicking in my door. But you know what I'm saying? If he's on the list, get him. Massey and Khanna are the only one vote short of getting 218 to force a vote on their bill. Are only one. Okay, so they're not the only, not them, but they're only one vote short of 218 signatures to force a vote on their bill. So they're literally one vote short. This is like a cliffhanger. Which you'll have those people say, you know, all politics is theater. Yeah, I kind of agree to an extent. But I think COVID showed us that there is a lot of power in local politics. You know, I don't think it's all theater. Once Arizona holds a special election September 23rd, so today, to fill the vacant seat of Representative Raul Grijalva, Democrat from Arizona, who died earlier this year, they will likely reach the threshold. So hopefully today, that's what it said, September 23rd, we'll get a bill passed that, like, they'll release these fucking files, man. Grijalva's daughter, Adelita, won the Democratic primary and is a heavy favorite to win the special election. She's expected to provide the final signature. So, hopefully, so she's the one where literally Grijalva's daughter, Adelita. I don't know if you believe in praying or witchcraft, whatever voodoo you do so well, right there, man. We need her to sign for this to pass so we can see these fucking files, man. So far, only 4 House Republicans have signed the petition to force a vote on releasing the Epstein files. Massey, which we already said he's cool. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you guys know how I feel about her. I like her. I used to not like her because she was a Q-tard, but she renounced all that stupid shit. So now she's cool. I like her now. I don't think she's hot, though, man. I do have to say, like, the Republicans are ridiculous when they're like, dude, she's so hot. And I'm like, she looks like a dude. You're gay. Sorry. Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert. I've heard her name before. But more Republicans are likely to vote for the measure when it comes to the floor. Hopefully. Representative Eric Burleson, for example, who's a Republican for Missouri, MO, for example, hasn't signed the discharge petition but called for the Trump administration to prioritize the release of the Epstein files. So hopefully he's not just talking out one side of his mouth, and he will sign it. Yeah, I think the American people, so if they're lacking one signature, they could get this motherfucker right there to sign it. Burleson hasn't signed the discharge petition but called for Trump's. So sign it, dumb fuck. They're one signature short. I don't get it. Oh, wait, unless they're actually doing the signing today. I don't know. I'm not the greatest when it comes to politics, man. Yeah, I think the American people are sick and tired of being lied to by their government, or the government holding these secrets that they deserve to know the truth on. Burleson told Missouri in July. Representative Tim Burchett, Republican Tennessee, also said he wants the Justice Department to release the Epstein files and told ABC News in July that he was ticked off when Trump claimed the Epstein files were a hoax concocted by Democrats. Yeah, I'm still fucking pissed about that. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Republican from SD, so South Dakota, declined to comment Tuesday when asked whether he would bring legislation passed by the House directing the release of the Epstein files for a vote in the Senate, calling it a hypothetical scenario. So that guy sounds shady if he's not even commenting. But Thune acknowledged the loud calls within his party for more transparency from Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel. Oh, wiggly eyes. I can't comment on that at this point. I guess the House is having a conversation about that. What I can tell you is I believe that transparency is always best, and you should get as much information out there as you possibly can in a way that protects the rights of the victims, he told reporters. By the way, they keep saying this shit, we can't release the files, we have to protect the victims. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you could just blur their names out. Well, black it out. That's an excuse they've been trying to use this whole time, and it's fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't care about the victims' names. I really don't. I don't need to know who the victims are. I need to know who the perpetrator is. You know what I mean? I've never cared who the victims are. Not that I don't care about them, but it's like I've never cared knowing who they are. Does that make sense? So stop using that as an excuse, dude. I'm all for transparency, disclosure, he said. Damn, this website sucks. Thune was caught off guard last week when Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer of New York ambushed him by offering an amendment to the annual defense authorization bill directing the Justice Department to release the files. Thune hadn't filled the amendment tree immediately after bringing the defense bill to the floor, an action that would have prevented Democrats from offering amendments, and Schumer pounced by offering his Epstein amendment and putting GOP senators in a tough situation. Sorry, my alarm, guys. So, Thune and his leadership team urged the Senate GOP conference to stick together and vote down the amendment, calling it a political stunt, but they suffered two big decisions when SENS, whatever that is, Josh Hawley, Republican of Missouri, and Rand Paul from Kentucky, I do like Rand Paul, joined the Democrats' call for more transparency. Rand Paul is one of the very few who would reach across the aisle. I truly believe him and his father are actual fucking... I hate this word, sadly, because QAnon and right-wing idiot conservatives have, like, taken it and destroyed it, but he's a fucking patriot, man. Him and his dad, in my opinion. And I mean, you never hear me use that word because I hate it so much. And the sad thing is, it's a beautiful word. I used to love the word until QAnon and conservatives fucking took it and destroyed the meaning of it, you know. Hawley said he couldn't vote against a proposal directing the Justice Department to provide more transparency into its investigations into Epstein after previously staking out a position that the American public is entitled to the truth, even if it might expose some powerful people. Oh, it won't might. It will. My position has long been, I think we ought to release those files and trust the American people, just like we did with the MLK and JFK files. I think this is a similar deal, he said, referring to the files about Martin Luther King Jr. and former President Kennedy. So here's the thing. I've said this before, and it's still a possibility because we haven't got the files. They do this a lot. They will declassify shit 40 to 50 years later. Martin Luther King and JFK were assassinated, 69 or something like that? Like, back in the 60s, dude. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. 40 years ago. Or almost, like 40-something years ago, dude. Most of the people who actually... And I'm not saying I don't care. Like, you guys know me. JFK is my favorite president. Him and Mr. Lincoln. I love the Kennedys. You know, that's my little group right there. But it's not that I don't care, but I don't have as much passion in me as someone who actually seen it, who actually voted for him, JFK. Or I don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, they always wait to release this shit until everyone who actually was investigating and doing their hard work investigating, like, most of the JFK conspiracy theorists are all dead and gone. I mean, we have, like, obviously still some out there, but they always release it, like, 50 years later. So, like, most average people are just like, I don't care who shot JFK. What does it have to do with me? And I get it, but I don't get it. Because it's like, it is important, you know. To me, history is important, so we don't repeat it. And two, I want to fucking know. Yeah. He said, referring to the files about Martin Luther King Jr. So, what I was saying though, the point I was making is like, they're probably going to do the same shit with this Epstein shit. And I've said it 1,000 times on this channel. I'll say it again. We might not get this shit until 50 years from now. And I know that I've treated my body like an amusement park my whole life. I'm a chain smoker. I've drank and drugged. Yeah, I've been a party animal since like 16 years old. I've chilled out the older I've gotten, but like, you know, I'm not gonna live forever. So like, by the time it will fucking get released, I'll be dead. You know, my wife will be looking at it and like, man, my husband would have loved this, you know. Paul, a prominent libertarian-leaning conservative, which is why I like him, hasn't been vocal on the Epstein controversy, but explained to The Hill that when the issue came up for a vote, he felt he had to support the amendment directing the Justice Department to release its files as a matter of principle. People are losing faith in government. Well, I lost faith like forever ago, but there are still those like kind of purple-pilled people who are just now waking up, who are just now losing faith, you know? Which, in my opinion, I know this sounds dark, but that's actually a good thing. Because maybe, if we get enough people to wake up, I think this Charlie Kirk thing woke a lot of people up. Now, I am concerned of people becoming radicalized. I am scared of the pendulum, of like people going way too far to the right when they should be in the middle, you know. But yeah, people are losing faith. I've lost faith a billion years ago, and people have this idea that the rich people getting treated differently. They are. Money is God. He said, pointing to the widespread view that the Justice Department is trying to protect Epstein's wealthy clients from being exposed. I feel this sense from the public that they think something untoward happened. Sorry, he speaks well. Untoward. That there's some kind of secret deal to let really wealthy people off the hook. There is, man. He explained. It's difficult to have a legal system if people think they're treated differently by justice. They are. Our justice system's fucked. I've said this before, man. Like, we're in a banana republic, man. Nobody's willing to fucking say it. You know? Our justice system is redonkulous. We got liberal judges doing whatever the fuck. You can just, in certain cities, in certain states, you can just like, I don't know, cut a white chick's throat, you know, on the subway and just get off scot-free and shit. I think it's worth opening up the Justice Department's Epstein files to reassure people, he added. I don't know. Maybe nothing happened. You're being facetious, right? Reveal the information so that people can feel more comfortable that justice is equal, impartial, and blind. Paul said there's more support among House Republicans for requiring Bondi to release all the Epstein files than it appears from the fact that only 4 GOP lawmakers have signed the Massey Kana discharge petition. Because they are lobbying so hard against it, they only have a few Republicans on the discharge the petition, he said. They're trying whatever they can to squelch dissent and brute force, Paul said, of the GOP leadership. There are signs of broader support among Republican senators for requiring the Justice Department to release the files. Hopefully. Senator Tom Tillis, Republican of North Carolina, voted against Schumer's amendment because he said that it was a procedural vote and that Republican leaders were certain to strip it from the final version of the defense bill, even if it received enough votes to be adopted. But he said if the matter comes to the floor again in a more legitimate way, he would vote in a heartbeat to make all the Epstein files public. I wonder what they were trying to throw in the bill. Because they do that a lot. And you'll see this with mainstream news, is they'll be like, oh, so-and-so voted against this common sense bill. And it's like, no, they didn't vote against that part of the bill. the main part of the bill. They voted against something weird that the Democrats slipped in there. The Democrats always fucking slip something weird in there. And the Republicans do it too. And they're like, we agree with the bill, but why is this in here? You know, why is this $1 million to Ukraine in there? You know, like, but I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention, that while the entire world was focused on Charlie Kirk's assassination, that we could have gotten the Epstein files the exact same day. Someone even said it was actually even the same time that he got shot. I don't know about that one. I know it was the same day. But once again, it's that order out of chaos, you know, Freemason, Illuminati type stuff of look over here while we do this over here. And I mean, anyone who's been a conspiracy theorist for long enough knows they always don't ever let a good tragedy go to waste in their mind. And they do that all the time. Look over here while we do this, you know. I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to donate some money, I got a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below. That's it. Y'all have a good day.